Pollution is an undesirable change in the physical, chemical or biological characteristics of air, land and water that will adversely affect human life, land or that of desirable species directly or indirectly. Odom, 1971. In general, the term pollution is used to refer introduction of harmful substance into the environment by humans. According to Southwick 1976, the problem of pollution arises because of human population explosion. The higher population leads to utilize excessive energy, produce more waste, more sewage and exploited natural resources. Figure 1 explains the various sources that lead to pollution. Anthropogenic sources, agricultural sources. Sources of pollution. Biogenic sources, industrial sources. Figure 1. Different sources of pollution. After the Industrial Revolution, human has developed various technologies and progressed in economic, medical, social and industrial spheres. There is significant increase in coal production, petrochemicals, energy generation, pesticide, fertilizers, etc., which leads to degradation of the environment due to release of large quantities of gaseous, liquid and solid wastes generated by 3. Industry and other human activities. The pollution directly or indirectly affects human health. Figure 2, by deteriorating the life support systems of our biosphere. Figure 2. Effect of pollution on human health. A substance or chemicals which causes the pollution is called as pollutant. The pollutants can be divided into 2 types. Biodegradable pollutants. Those pollutants which can be easily broken down into simpler elements or forms by various microbes and other decomposing organisms. For e.g., organic waste, animals and human waste, agriculture waste, etc. Non-biodegradable pollutants. Those pollutants which cannot be broken down into simpler forms. For e.g., heavy metals like lead and mercury, pesticides, etc. In this module we will discuss how human activities responsible for the degradation of environment by creating pollution such as air, water and soil. In addition, the higher intensity of noise and radiation is also detrimental to human life and called as noise pollution and radiation pollution respectively. 3. Air pollution. Air pollution can be defined as the presence of undesired chemicals in the atmosphere at higher concentrations which is harmful to the organisms, materials and to alter climate. 4. Figure 3. Air pollution generated from natural human manufactured. The source of air pollutants can be from both natural and human generated. Figure 3. Natural sources consist of dust, forest fires, volcanic eruptions, etc. Air pollution generated from human activities is not new, but it starts since the discovery of fire. But the situation becomes alarming when the humans started extracting and burning coal. Most outdoor pollutants released in the atmosphere from the burning of fossil fuels in the industries and vehicles. Figure 1 explains the various sources of air pollution. The air pollutants can be classified into 2 categories. Primary pollutants. Pollutants which are released into the environment as a result of natural and or human activity. For e.g., carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, oxides of nitrogen, sulfur dioxide, suspended particulate matter and hydrocarbons. Secondary pollutants. Pollutants which formed when some primary pollutants react with one another or with the basic components of air. The pollutants which formed due to chemical interaction of primary pollutants are further catalyzed by sunlight. For e.g., ozone, O3, peroxyacyl nitrates, sulfuric acid and nitric acid. The threat due to air pollution became evident only when some severe incidences caused human casualty. In 1952, nearly 2,500 people died in London due to presence of sulfuric acid vapors, sulfur dioxide and particulate matters. In India on 3 December 1984 at Union Carbide in Bhopal, approximately 36 tons of methyl isocyanate leaked from the tank in midnight over the city. It caused death of around 10,000 people and more than 2,000 were injured. Many surviving people suffered from permanent respiratory illness and impairment of vision. According to the World Health Organization (WHO), 24% of global diseases and 23% of all deaths are caused by environmental exposure. In addition, 1 of every 6 individuals on the earth lives in an urban area where the air is unhealthy to breathe. Most of these individuals live in highly populated cities in developing countries where air pollution control laws do not exist or are poorly enforced. 5. 6. 3.1. Causes of air pollution. The major constituents of air are N2, O2 and inert gases that comprises about 99.9% of total atmospheric gases. Some minor gases like sulfur dioxide, CO2, methane, CH4, nitrogen dioxide, number 2 chlorofluorocarbons, CFCs, along with carbon dioxide, CO2, unburned hydrocarbon and suspended particulate matter, SPM, have increased which are responsible for the pollution. The common atmospheric pollutants along with their major source are presented in Table 1. Table 1. Various pollutants commonly present in atmosphere. Common atmospheric pollutants. Primary, secondary, industrial process, natural process. CO2, Colorado, NOx, CO2, NH3, H2S, hydrocarbon. Pan, O3 CFC, acid, aldehyde, fluoride, chloride. CO2, Colorado, O3, CH3, H2S, CO2, NOx, NH3. Particulates. Smoke, dust, lead particles, etc., grit, dust, smoke, fumes, mist, liquid droplets, aerosol, suspended. The major causes of air pollution include the following human activities: fossil fuel consumption, motor transport, modern agriculture, and industry. Fossil fuels are the source of energy for cooking, transport, power generation, manufacturing, cooling, and heating and for many other purposes. Fossil fuel, including coal, on complete combustion produces CO2 but incomplete combustion yields carbon monoxide and a variety of hydrocarbons. In addition, burning of coal also produces SO2 and ash. About 60% of SO2 releases due to burning of coal. Transport vehicle including trucks, buses, cars, two-wheelers and three-wheelers contributes NO2, county and hydrocarbon emission. These vehicles also releases lead because of tetramethyl lead in petrol which acts as anti-knock agent. Agricultural activities like burning of forest for agriculture also produces carbon dioxide, and 40% of methane is produced from rice fields, guts of livestock due to breakdown of organic matter by anaerobic bacteria and burning of biomass. Figure 4. Air pollution caused by transport vehicles. Industrial activities like smelting of metal ores produces large quantities of SO2. Chemical plants produces number of hazardous chemicals including CFCs and many more. These are non-biodegradable pollutants with half-life ranging from 7 to 10 years. Other major sources of pollutants are rubber, dioxin, paper, plastic, pesticides, automobile industry, asbestos fibers, tobacco smoke, nitrosamine and polychlorinated biphenyls, and are the major environmental contaminants. Figure 5. Air pollution caused by gases released from industries. Dust is generated from various sources such as coal dust from power plants, cement dust from cement factories, silica dust from stone crushing, building construction, etc. The transport vehicles are also causes production of large amount of dust. In India, about 80 million tons of fly ash is produced annually by power plants running through coal. About 10,000 tons of stone dust is generated by over 10,000 stone crushers in India. 7. The economic development of a nation depends upon the availability of energy. The living standard of USA, Japan, Russia, Germany, and some other industrialized nations is largely dependent on energy access and consumption. These countries use more than 70% of the total world's commercial energy. The share of energy for developing nations is very small. But now there is increase in the energy consumption in developing countries that indicates increase in levels of SO2, CO2, number 2, county and particulate matter. Similarly, industrialization, modern agriculture, transport vehicles have also increased sharply and have contributed enormously to air pollution. 3.2. Acid rain. It refers to several ways in which acids from the atmosphere reaches to surface Earth. Acid rain includes dry and wet deposition. Dry deposition refers to settle down of windblown acidic gases and atmospheric particles on the Earth's surface. However, wet deposition refers to acidic water received from the rain, fog and snow. About half of the acidity in the atmosphere is transferred on Earth through dry deposition. Various gases like NO2, SO2 and NOx are generated from the burning of coal and petroleum. Lightning in the sky also produces NO2 naturally. These gases are highly reactive in the air, which oxidized into acids like H2SO4 and HNO3. These gases dissolved in the water very easily and is washed down to Earth's surface as acid rain. Usually, rainwater is slightly acidic, pH 5.6-6.5, as the water and CO2 combined in air to form weak acid. The pH of acid rain is less than 5.6, can be goes down as 4 or below. Acid rain can damage building material, Taj Mahal furnishing fabrics, terrestrial and aquatic vegetation. Fish cannot tolerate pH less than 5. Low pH of acid rain also damages soil minerals. Human health. A. In dry gaseous forms, acid rain causes respiratory problems. In severe condition, it can lead to death. B. Acid rain when fall on body may cause itching or burning sensation. 3.3. Consequences of air pollution. The physiological effects of toxic pollutants on living beings can be of two types. I. Acute effect. This effect is immediate but short-lived. It occurs when the individual is exposed to a high concentration of toxic pollutant for a shorter period of time. For example, we experience 8. Headache during traveling on a busy road. It is due to exposure to carbon monoxide released from vehicles. Acute effects result when a pollutant is released in abnormally large quantities, e.g. release of methyl isocyanate gas accidentally from the pesticide plant in Bhopal. E. Chronic effects. It is the exposure of small amount of pollutants for a long period of time and the effect appears after several months or years. For example, prolonged exposure to So of May leads to chronic bronchitis, pulmonary fibrosis, exposure to coal dust leads to black lung. 3.3.1. Effects on health. The air pollutants when inhaled during respiration, they enter into the blood circulatory system and through which reaches to the target organs. The extent of damage of the organ depends upon a particular pollutant, its concentration in the air and exposure time. The air pollutants are generally linked with respiratory and some other diseases, figure 6, as mentioned below. 1. Sulfur dioxide is mainly responsible for lung diseases. It causes irritation to nose and mucus lining. The acute effects include shortness of breath, bronchospasm, edema and tissue fluid accumulation. However, chronic effects may result in respiratory diseases like chronic bronchitis, asthma, emphysema and pulmonary fibrosis. Figure 6. Respiratory and cardiovascular disease caused by air pollution. 2. Oxides of nitrogen released from the buses, trucks and other vehicles causes irritation in eye and lung. Inhalation of these gases in large amounts may result in gum inflammation, internal bleeding and cancer. 3. Carbon monoxide can compete and binds with the hemoglobin. Its affinity for hemoglobin is 200 times more than oxygen. So, even when it is present at low levels, it is not safe. High 9. 10. Concentrations of CO slow down physical and mental activities and may cause asphyxiation, heart and brain damage. 4. Ozone and peroxyacyl nitrate pan causes irritation of eyes. Ozone causes dry throat, cough, headache, difficulty in breathing and weakens the lung tissues. 5. The particulate matter depends upon its nature and size cause irritation reactions. 6. Fumes of toxic metals like lead damages brain of child and can cause death. In adults it affects kidneys and liver. Chronic exposure to mercury vapors causes lesions of the mouth and skin and neurological problems. 7. Dust of coal, asbestos etc. Cause respiratory problems. 8. Hydrocarbons like chlorinated hydrocarbons, benzopyrene, polybiphenyl chloride, benzene and many other compounds cause cancer. 3.4. Greenhouse effect and global warming. Various gases in the atmosphere like CH4, CO2, number 2, O3, and CFCs and water vapors prevent heat from escaping. The gases are known as greenhouse gases and the effect is called greenhouse effect. It makes the earth warm and provides the conditions for the existence of life. In the absence of the greenhouse effect, the average temperature of the Earth would be about -18 °C, but due to human activities, the temperature of Earth is continuously increasing. The following human activities contributing increase in greenhouse gases. 1. Excessive use of fossil fuels in vehicles and industries, which releases large amount of carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide and methane gas. 2. Clearing and burning of forests and grasslands for agricultural crops. 3. Growing rice in agricultural field and use of inorganic fertilizers release N2O. It is believed that increased concentration of CO2 and other greenhouse gases will increase the Earth's natural greenhouse effect and will increase the Earth temperature. This increased greenhouse effect is called as global warming. According to IPCC report 2001, the global warming in the last 50 years has been occurred due to enhanced human activities, and it is believed that the Earth's average temperature will increase by 1.4 to 5.8. 0. C by 2100. According to Bush administration report 2002, expect rising temperature of Earth's surface is by 30 C and the sea level by 9 to 88 cm. The increased sea level results in flooding of coastal wetlands, low-lying islands and heavily populated coastal cities. These changes would affect 50% of the Earth's populations that inhabits coastal regions. 3.5. Ozone depletion. The ozone layer in the stratosphere is dynamic, which is constantly formed and destroyed. The ozone is formed when some molecules of the oxygen interact with the UV radiations. Initially, the UV radiations UVB break the oxygen molecules O2 into oxygen atom O. The oxygen atom O then combines with molecular oxygen O2 to form the ozone. O2 plus UVB right pointing arrow O plus O. O plus O2 right pointing arrow O3. However, at the same time, some of free oxygen atom O also combines with ozone to form two molecules of oxygen. O plus O3 right pointing arrow to O2. Moreover, ozone when absorbs UVB radiations, it is broken down into oxygen O2 and free oxygen atom O. O3 plus UVB right pointing arrow O2 plus O. So, there is continuous formation as well as destruction of ozone. The ozone concentration is measured in Dobson units and its normal value ranges from a 400 to 600 Du. When chlorofluorocarbons CFC's concentration is higher in the air, it moves to the stratosphere by convection current and turbulent mixing of the air and react with the ultraviolet radiations to form free chlorine. CFCl3 plus UV right pointing arrow Cl plus CFCl2. This chlorine react with ozone to form oxygen O2. Cl plus O3 right pointing arrow Cl plus O2 Cl plus Cl right pointing arrow 2 Cl plus O2. The chlorine is continuously regenerated and each chlorine atom can convert up to 100,000 molecules of ozone to oxygen. As a result, the thickness of ozone decreased significantly, called as ozone hole, but accurately it is thinning of ozone hole. The thinning of ozone O3 layer results in the reaching of UVA and UVB on Earth's surface and causing adverse effect on living organisms as follows. 1. In human beings, UV radiations causes sunburns, skin cancers and eye cataracts. The cancer spreads to other organs and is lethal to the human. 11. 2. UV radiations cause suppression of the immune system and make the body susceptible to infections. 3. UV radiation causes higher mortality of aquatic species and reduces the population of phytoplankton on the surface. 4. There may be reduced yield of some crops and decreased forest productivity from UV-sensitive tree species. 5. It also contributes to global warming due to decreased uptake of atmospheric CO2 by the phytoplankton. 3.5.1. Protection of the ozone layer. Due to the awareness of harmful effect of ozone, the use of ozone-depleting chemicals is banned. There are various other chemicals are now available like hydrochlorofluorocarbon, HCFC, which releases much less chlorine molecule. Ray Turner in California has developed citrus-based solvents to clear the circuit boards, replacing the CFCs. In 1987, Montreal Protocol was presented to reduce CFC's emission by about 50% between 1989 and 2000. Later, Copenhagen, Denmark in 1992 was passed to accelerate the phasing out of the ozone-depleting chemicals. 4. Water pollution. Water is one of the important components of living organisms. It is for agriculture, industries, household and various other purposes. The used water when released into the environment consists of many undesired toxic and innocuous matter and many disease-causing microbes which adversely affect environment and health. Figure 7. The pollution in rivers, lakes, estuaries is continuously increasing all over the world and becoming nightmare to human beings. 12. Figure 7. River pollution due to dumping of industrial waste and domestic waste. The water pollutants can be distinguished into two types. I. Point source. It involves the release of undesired substances into water bodies from a specific site such as sewage, oil wells, power plants, factories and coal mines. E. Non-point source. It involves the inflow of pollutants into water body in a different manner over a larger area such as various agricultural lands, water drainage from roads, streets etc., farm animals and many more. These sources are diffuse and are poorly defined. 4.1. Causes of water pollution. Most of the human activities are the prime cause of water pollution. Rapid increase in population, intensive agriculture, growing industrialization and urbanization has resulted in deterioration of water in the natural reservoirs. Water pollutants. Water pollution can occur on any one or more of the following agents. I. Biological. The growth of various living microbes such as bacteria, virus, protozoa and helminths. E. Chemical. A. Inorganic. Various inorganic chemicals such as nitrates, phosphates, chloride and fluoride etc. B. Organic. Pesticides, dyes, chlorocompounds, phenols etc. C. Heavy metals. Presence of heavy metal ions such as mercury, lead, arsenic, zinc, cadmium, copper etc. E. Physical. Waste heat released from thermal plants. 13. 4.1.1. Sources of water pollution. The pollution caused by various human activities can broadly group into four categories. 1. Domestic effluents. The waste produced in kitchen, bathroom and toilet are discharged directly or through canal into the river, pond or other water body. Most of the Indian rivers are polluted at stretches on account of indiscriminate discharge of liquid effluents. This occurs due to inadequate facilities of sewage collection and treatment. For example, Dal Lake in Kashmir has been polluted due to the dumping of sewage and domestic effluents from houseboats, hotels and from neighboring localities into the lake. The Hooghly estuary is also heavily polluted with domestic waste and effluents released from various industries located on its shore. 2. Industrial effluents. Most industries discharge their effluents into nearby river which consists of heavy metals like mercury, cadmium, lead, arsenic etc. Other chemical pollutants include polychlorinated biphenyls, phenols, dyes, paints, varnishes, and plastics. The Rhine River in Europe becomes one of the most polluted rivers due to the accumulation of heavy metals and toxic chemicals at the base of the river. In India also river Ganga receives sewage and noxious effluents from chemical factories. 3. Surface runoff. The surface runoff occurs from the cultivated lands where inorganic fertilizers, pesticides, and insecticides are used. Pesticides such as DDT, dichlorodiphenyl tetrachloroethene 2,4-D dichlorophenoxyacetic acid dieldrin, malathion, carbaryl etc. are used for crop protection. India alone uses approximately 1,000 tons of pesticides annually. Application of nitrogen fertilizers, nitrates and ammonia released from manure increase nitrate content of water bodies. 4. Waste heat. Water is a good cooling agent which is used in thermal power plants, refineries and various other industries. The waste heat in the form of hot water is discharged into the river or other water body. For example, nuclear power station in Kota uses water as a coolant from the Chambal River. The temperature of water released from power plant is about 8 C to 10 C which is much higher than 14. The temperature of water released from power plant is about 8 C to 10 C which is much higher than 14. Normal river water. The disposal of waste heat into water increases the temperature of the water body, adversely affect the amount of dissolved oxygen in the aquatic community present in it. 4.2. Consequences of water pollution. The water pollution adversely affects the flora and fauna of aquatic system and also human health. 1. Effects on aquatic organisms. Toxic water pollutants such as heavy metals, insecticides and other harmful chemicals directly affect aquatic organisms whereas non-toxic organic materials eliminate some aquatic species indirectly by reducing the dissolved oxygen of water. Figure 8. Figure 8. Death of fishes due to river pollution. The species like trout and bass are sensitive that require high level of oxygen. These species are eliminated first when oxygen level is low. With further decrease in dissolved oxygen, leeches, catfish and carp get killed. Trout and salmon are excellent indicators of pollution. The aquatic flora of lakes and ponds is also affected by slight variations in temperature. Hot water released from power plants cause ecological imbalance by death of some fish species and other aquatic organisms. Different species have different optimum temperature for growth, development and reproduction. Stenothermal species die due to slight increase in the temperature. Warm water can cause premature reproduction in some species but the young ones are not able to survive in the absence of desirable living conditions such as availability of food. Increased temperature due to thermal pollution at stretches of water body interfere the migration of fish species and thus affects their life cycle. 15. 2. Effects on health. Polluted water deteriorates the water quality which is used for drinking, bathing, swimming and various other purposes. Drinking water polluted with sewage is a source of viruses, bacteria, protozoa, worms and also have foul smell. It causes various waterborne diseases like cholera, dysentery, typhoid, jaundice and various other infection. Presence of heavy metals such as mercury, lead, cadmium, zinc and copper are harmful to health. Mercury compounds are converted into methyl mercury by bacterial action which is highly toxic to body. In 1952, mercury poisoning in Japan caused Minamata disease due to eating of fish taken from mercury-polluted Minamata Bay. It causes numbness of limbs, lips and tongue. It also caused deafness, blurring of vision, apathy and mental retardation. Cadmium pollution caused another disease called itai occurred in Japan due to the consumption of rice affected with cadmium. It is a painful disease of bone and also causes cancer of liver and lungs. Excessive nitrate in water causes methemoglobinemia. Nitrate converts hemoglobin to its oxidized form methemoglobin which is non-functional. Nitrate can be fatal to human, especially infants under 3 months. Such infants are called blue babies. Fluoride when present in excess causes mottled teeth, stiffening of joints and hardened bones called skeletal fluoride. Fluoride when present in excess causes mottled teeth, stiffening of joints and hardened bones called skeletal fluorosis or knock-knees disease. It leads to total inability to move. In India, excessive fluoride-affected states are Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Gujarat, Rajasthan, Punjab, Haryana and Bihar. Chlorination of water produces chlorinated organic compounds which can be carcinogenic or teratogenic. Pesticides which enter into water bodies such as DDT, aldrin and dieldrin get accumulated in the animals and causes cancer and teratogeny. It also causes tremors, convulsions causing damage to kidneys. 5. Land pollution. Land pollution occurs due to dumping of solid wastes generated in the household and manufacturing units. Domestic wastes include kitchen garbage, waste tin cans, plastic bottles, cloth rags, waste papers, straw board boxes, ash etc. However, industrial wastes are fly ash, lime sludge, brine mud, metal scraps and copper slag from large industries, dyes, plastics and lots of other wastes from small-scale industries. Figure 9. 16. Figure 9. Plastics and other solid wastes disposed into land. The amount of garbage generated is proportional to affluence in the society. For example, the solid waste generated in affluent areas in Delhi is around 1,000 gallon per day, whereas in MCD areas it is about 300 gl per day and in rural areas it is significantly very low. In India, average per capita waste generated is 300,400 gallon per day. Industries in India also generate a number of wastes in large quantities. For example, the amount of slag generated by the blast furnace used for integrated iron and steel mills is about 35 million tons per year, and fly ash produced from coal-based power station is 80 million tons per year. The fertility of soil also decreases due to acids and alkali, insecticides, fumigants and herbicides. Figure 10. Figure 10. Soil contaminated by chemicals which decrease the fertility of soil. 6. Noise pollution. Noise pollution is the production of excessively high levels of sound which may cause loss of hearing. The main sources of noise pollution originated from human activities. Fig. 11, 12, 13. The major sources of pollution are 17. 1. Transport, which includes road traffic, railways, aircraft. 2. Industries having generators, pile drivers, pneumatic drills, road roller, etc. 3. Special events include loudspeakers, music performance, marriage party, religious festival, etc. The human ear is sensitive to the sound of frequency in the range of 20 to 2000 Hz. Loudness is measured in decibel scale dB. It is not linear but a logarithmic scale. For example, a change from 40 decibels to 80 decibels represents a 10,000 increase in loudness. In New Delhi, the noise levels ranges from 28 to 71 dB at different area at different times. Mumbai 64-102 decibels, Rourkela 70 to 104 dB, and Ahmedabad on average is 62 decibels. Figure 11. Noise pollution caused due to loudspeaker in religious festival. Figure 12. The noisy machines have given every third person hypertension and hearing problems. 18. Figure 13. Figure 13. Noise level during Ganpati 2013, one of the loudest festivals in Mumbai. 6.1. Effects of noise. The noise pollution is increasing tremendously due to development of new technologies. It causes psychological and physiological changes and also affects the health. The noise has following adverse effect on the body. 1. Noise produces temper tantrum, irritation, anxiety, fatigue and even nausea. Prolonged exposure of excessive noise cause lack of concentration, sleeplessness, headache, constriction in blood vessels, change in heartbeat, increase of blood pressure, pale skin, nervous breakdown, etc. 2. Noise results in decreased sensitiveness to hearing, finally leading to deafness. 3. According to WHO report, noise pollution contribute to hundreds of thousands of deaths per year by causing the high risk of coronary heart disease. 4. Underwater noise pollution produced by ships disturbs whales' navigation systems and kill other species. The excessive noise makes wild species to communicate louder, which can decrease their lifespan. The methods of noise control are: the noise pollution can be reduced by decreasing the sources that produces sound. For example, the number of trucks, vehicles and loudspeakers, etc. From residential areas can be reduced by legislation. However, there is a limitation to this type of solution. If it is not feasible to reduce such sources, efforts can certainly be made to reduce noise production. Proper oiling of the wheels and redesigning of the machinery and regular servicing can be done in this connection. In 1980s and 1990s there were several court judgments in India to reduce the noise from industries, firecrackers, vehicle horns, etc. In 2000, Indian government notifies the noise regulation rules under the Environment Protection Act of 1986. The rule regulate the noise level in industry 75 decibels, commercial 65 decibels, and residence 55 decibels, and also establish zone of silence 100 meters near school, hospital, court, etc. There is no permission by any authority for use of public address system in the open after 10 p.m. and before 6 a.m. In 2010, there was amendment to the rules to make it stricter and specific. 7. Control of pollution. The pollution adversely affects human health, crop yield, fisheries, forests, buildings, archaeological monuments and tourism. Pollution can be controlled at 2 levels: I, technological and E, legal. Air pollution can be reduced by using bag filters, gravity settling chamber, centrifugal collectors like cyclone collector and dynamic precipitators, wet scrubbers, spray tower and venture scrubber, electrostatic precipitators and fabric filters that remove smaller and larger particulate matter and pollutant gases from emission gases. Sewage treatment plants can be used for the purification of water. These technologies require large investments. Studies have shown that in industrial sector waste reduction makes tremendous economic sense and helps in restriction pollution. Pollution can also be controlled by effective legislation. The Constitution of India has provision to make environmental legislation. Like USA, Japan, Germany and many other countries, a comprehensive legislation for prevention and control of water pollution has also been enacted in India. The Water Act 1974 and Air Act in 1981 are being implemented through the Central Board and state boards. The Central Board coordinates the regulatory norms and enacts strategies to be undertaken for effective prevention, control or abatement of water and air pollution in the country. It also looks after the pollution control activities in the Union territories. The Air Act is meant to regulate and control the emissions from automobiles and industrial plants. The state government can declare certain areas as air pollution control areas, and the industries cannot operate in such areas without prior permission from the state board. The Water Act prohibits the dumping of poisonous metals, hazardous chemicals and other pollutants into stream and wells. For dumping of sewage and industrial effluents in water, prior consent of the state board is necessary. In addition to these legislative measures, a nationwide network was set up in 1984 for monitoring ambient air quality. Now it has 85 stations covering 24 cities. For monitoring the quality of rivers, about 170 stations have been set up. Central Board and Department of Ocean Development have jointly identified 173 monitoring stations all along the Indian coast for the purpose of water quality. 20. Standards. Likewise, in 1968, Insecticide Control Act was enforced to regulate import, manufacture, sale, transport, distribution and use of insecticides. There are also provisions for the regulation of nuclear installation and control on disposal of nuclear wastes. 8. Summary. Pollution is an undesirable change in the physical, chemical, or biological characteristics of air, land, and water that will adversely affect human life, land, or that of desirable species directly or indirectly. Pollution can be categorized as air, water, land, and noise pollution. Air pollution is the presence of undesired chemicals in the atmosphere which is harmful to the organisms, materials, and to alter climate. The source of air pollutants can be from both natural like dust, forest fires, volcanic eruptions, and human-generated, which includes industries and vehicles, etc. Various gases like NO2, CO2, and VOx are generated from the burning of coal and petroleum. These gases are highly reactive in the air, which oxidized into acids like H2SO4 and HNO3 and washed down to Earth's surface as acid rain. The air pollutants when inhaled are generally linked with respiratory and some other diseases like asphyxiation, heart and brain damage, cancer, etc. Water is one of the important components of living organisms when released into the environment after industrial or domestic use, consists of many undesired toxic and innocuous matter and many disease-causing microbes which adversely affect environment and health. Drinking water polluted with sewage is a source of viruses, bacteria, protozoa, worms which causes various waterborne diseases like cholera, dysentery, typhoid, jaundice and various other infection. Presence of heavy metals such as mercury, lead, cadmium, zinc and copper are also harmful to health. Land pollution occurs due to dumping of solid wastes generated in the household and manufacturing units. The fertility of soil is decreases due to acids and alkali, insecticides, fumigants and herbicides. Noise pollution occurs due to excessively high levels of sound produced through various means. The main source of noise pollution is originated from human activities which include road traffic, railways, industrial operations, construction work, aircrafts, etc. Noise can affect through interferes with communication, diminishes hearing and affects health and even behavior. All these pollutions are dangerous to human beings. Its far-reaching consequences for coming generations are feared. Control of pollution is economically beneficial. Pollution can be controlled by appropriate technology and effective legislation. 21. 1.